This video is about all the famous people and celebrities who passed away in 1972 in the United States. This is the 10th episode. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Oscar Levant. He was born in December 1906 and he died in August 1972. His age was 65 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Oscar Levant was an American concert pianist, composer, conductor, author, radio game show panelist, television talk show host, comedian, and actor. He had roles in the films Rhapsody in the Blue in 1945, The Barclays of Broadway in 1949, An American in Paris in 1951, and The Bandwagon in 1953. He was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960 for recordings featuring his piano performances. He was portrayed by Sean Hayes in the Broadway play Good Night. Oscar, written by Doug Wright. Levant appeared as himself in the Gershwin biopic Rhapsody in Blue in 1945. Levant traveled to Hollywood in 1928, where his career took a turn for the better. During his stay, he met and became friends with George Gershwin. From 1929 to 1948, Levant composed the music for more than 20 movies. During this period, he also wrote or co-wrote numerous popular songs that made the hit Parade, the most noteworthy being Blame It on My Youth in 1934, now considered a standard. Levant made his debut as a music conductor in 1938 on Broadway. Mary Van Cleek. She was born in June 1883 and she died in June 1972. Her age was 88 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Mary Van Cleek was an American social scientist. For the 20th century, she was a notable figure in the American labor movement, as well as a proponent of scientific management and a planned economy. Of Dutch descent, Van Cleek was a lifelong New Yorker, with the exception of her undergraduate studies at Smith College in Massachusetts. She began her career as part of the settlement movement investigating women's labor in New York City. Van Cleek rose to prominence as director of the Russell Sage Foundation's Department of Industrial Studies, which she led for over 30 years, beginning in 1916. During the First World War, Van Cleek was appointed by U.S. President Woodrow Wilson to lead the development of workplace standards for women entering the workforce, becoming the first woman appointed to a position of authority in the American federal government during the war. After the war, she led the creation of a federal agency to advocate for women in the workforce, the Women's Bureau, before returning to the Sage Foundation and continuing her determined research into labor issues. Saul Alinsky. He was born in January 1909 and he died in June 1972. His age was 63 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was heart attack. Saul Alinsky was an American community activist and political theorist. His work through the Chicago-based Industrial Areas Foundation helped poor communities organize to press demands upon landlords, politicians, bankers, and business leaders, won him national recognition and notoriety. Responding to the impatience of the New Left generation of activities in the 1960s, Alinsky, in his widely cited Rules for Radicals, a pragmatic primer in 1971, defended the arts both of confrontation and of compromise involved in community organizing as keys to the struggle for social justice. Beginning in the 1990s, Alinsky's reputation was revived by commentators on the political right as a source of tactical inspiration for the Republican Tea Party movement, and subsequently by virtue of indirect associations with both Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, as a leaked source of a radical democratic political agenda. While criticized on the political left for an aversion to bold ideological goals, Alinsky has also been identified as an inspiration for the Occupy movement and campaigns for climate action. Harold Ransford Stark. He was born in November 1880 and he died in August 1972. His age was 91 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Admiral Harold Stark was an officer in the United States Navy during the First World War and the Second World War, who served as the 8th Chief of Naval Operations from August 1, 1939 to March 26, 1942. Stark enrolled in the United States Naval Academy in 1899 and graduated with the class of 1903. As a plebe, there he received the nickname Betty. From 1907 to 1909, Stark served on the battleship USS Minnesota before and during the United States Atlantic Fleet's cruise around the world. Subsequently, Stark had extensive duty in torpedo boats and destroyers, including command of the Asiatic Fleet's torpedo flotilla in 1917, when these old and small destroyers steamed from Philippines to the Mediterranean to join the First World War operations. Stark served on the staff of Commander, United States Naval Forces operating in Europe from November 1917 to January 1919. In August 1939, Stark became Chief of Naval Operations, CNO, with the rank of Admiral. In that position, he oversaw the expansion of Navy during 1940 and 1941 and his involvement in the neutrality patrols against German submarines in the Atlantic during the later part of 1941. Reggie Harding. He was born in May 1942 and he died in September 1972. His age was 30 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was murder. Reggie Harding was an American professional basketball player. He starred while playing at Eastern High School in his hometown Detroit, Michigan, and entered the 1962 NBA draft without playing college basketball due to eligibility issues. Harding was selected by the Detroit Pistons and the first player drafted into the National Basketball Association without having played in college. Harding played his first professional season in the Midwest Professional Basketball League before he joined the Pistons in 1964. He spent parts of 4 seasons in the NBA with the Pistons and the Chicago Bulls, during which he was the subject of team misconduct, criminal activity, and a season-long league suspension. After his NBA career ended, Harding played briefly in the Continental Basketball Association for the Trenton Colonials and the American Basketball Association for the Indiana Pacers. Harding's career came to a premature end when he was imprisoned from 1969 to 1971 for a concealed weapons charge. He attempted to pursue a professional comeback after his release, but he was murdered in Detroit in 1972. Warren Kealoha. He was born in March 1903 and he died in September 1972. His age was 69 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Warren Kealoha was an American competition swimmer who was twice an Olympic gold medalist and a world record holder. Kealoha won the 100-meter backstroke event at the 1920 and 1924 Summer Olympics. During his career, Kealoha set 4 world records, first at the 1920 Olympics and the last in Honolulu in 1926, which was beaten the next day by Walter Loeffler. He was not related to Olympic swimming champion Pua Kealoha. After retiring from swimming, Kealoha became a rancher. He was introduced into the International Swimming Hall of Fame as an honor swimmer in 1968. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.